Where's your dog?
She's at home. She's freezing. She got a haircut. All her hair got shaved.
Oh, I love your dog.
I miss her. Here's her chain. Makes her look tough.
It does.
Even the kids freak out.
This is Rick. We're at Adrenaline Service Motorcycle Tune. What? What's the name of this place?
Service and Dyno Tune. We had to put the motorcycle stuff in there so people wouldn't get confused for cars.
Roger that. Why don't we just call it Adrenaline Motorcycle Garage? No. I like that name, actually.
Adrenaline Service and Dyno Tune.
Adrenaline Service and Dyno Tune. Okay.
A lot of years, a lot of work to get the Dyno Tune in there.
All right. So this is Rick, and we're going to work with a KTM 1190.
Yes.
This is a follow-up video.
From bullet bikes to blueprint and balance, Harleys, Flare.
This is Rick giving a promotion for his shop.
Yeah, I'm taking my coat off because I was freezing.
Were you?
But gotta do it.
Goodness. Okay, so if you saw the first video, here's where we're at right now. This thing dynoed at a paltry 106 horsepower. This is a 2014 KTM 1190 Adventure, not the R model. I prefer it over the R model for several reasons. Does great out in the desert. It's just a really cool, capable gear hauler. That's what I got it for, in the Nut Fancy project. Hauling guns, ammo, sometimes even a steel plate out in the desert. So it is a more expensive bike, and it packs a 150 horsepower motor. If you didn't see the first video, what happened, and it's at the top by the way, watch it if you haven't. What I'm expecting to the wheel is around, I don't know, 132, 135, maybe less since we're at high altitude, 4,300 feet elevation. 106 horsepower doesn't cut it. Now, in the last video, I'll put this lightly, a certain person said, hey, 106 horsepower is plenty. I don't know why you would need any more. Is this the result?
This was our first run, a refresher.
Okay. And to that, I will say this. 106 horsepower is fine for a V-Strom, fine for a number of other bikes that should be at that power level. This is not performing as it should, at least in that last dyno, with the Unifilter foam filter on the airbox. We'll talk about that here in a second. An example of the power level on the KTM 1190 for this certain person who posted that would be as follows. Let's say you go out and you buy a $2,500 precision competition level AR-15, and at 100 yards with good ammunition, it's shooting 3 inches. And I roll into your video and say, hey, you're complaining about the accuracy. I'm like, hey, 3 inches is good. It'll get the job done. It's like that. In other words, it's just not delivering its power level, and this bike is not just a gear hauler. I don't mind playing with sport bikes on the street. I think there's nothing funnier than me stomping on a CBR with a full load of AR-15 and ammunition. That's funny. That gives me joy. I've done it before, and the look on their face is just priceless. Maybe not a CBR, but other bikes.
Still, inside your heart, you know you're good.
That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so that's that. Now, let me tell you about the airbox super quick. I did take this back to Edge Motorsports in Draper, Utah. They were excellent, very helpful. They went in and they took off the foam pre-filters that are in the front air intakes on the KTM 1190, right here. And why those are necessary is because KTM stupidly has an airbox that allows dust ingestion. Still not fixed, almost unforgivable. So customers like myself have to figure out an alternative to protect their engine and still get, hopefully, a decent power level. And that's what we're doing. This is why we're wasting all this time and money on this. Edge took the pre-filters out. These were, I might have a photo of them, foam pre-filters that went in here. It was restricting airflow into the motor. Rick and I pretty much figured that out last time on the dyno. It's down on air is what we said. And they said they dynoed it at 126 horse rear wheel.
Cool.
We're gonna find out if that's true. Here we go. Now inside, underneath the gas tank, is the stock airbox still. It is still wearing the Unifilter main filter because this is a dirt bike, guys. This is not just a street bike. I don't run to Starbucks on my KTMs and pose. These are working motorcycles in TMP. They have to pull their load. Gear haulers. You know, a typical adventure out in the desert will be 300 miles. Hauling gear out to remote places. It's a lot more fuel efficient than a freaking truck. And a lot funner. So here we go. We're gonna do a power pull. How many are we doing, Rick? 1 or 2?
We'll do maybe 4 of them. We'll do 2. We try to hit the throttle at the right and the RPM. Everything identically. We want to duplicate it at least a couple times so we know we're not just getting something. And we'll try to do it at operating temperature and Hey, cool.
That's not 126 though, dude.
Can you believe that?
What?
What a change. For just doing pre-filters.
Yeah.
Cool.
But they told me 126. That's not 126.
They didn't dyno it, did they?
Yeah, they said they dynoed it twice. Edge did. And they changed a whole bunch of things and they said they pulled 126 out of it. And I was like, okay, we'll see.
I want to see.
You're pulling what, 117-ish?
Yeah, 116. Wonder if they changed correction factors or something. Wonder if I can go in and change my settings and
no, I think
make it. Because I'm on SAE.
Someone once told me you can't fake it to make it.
You can't, but if they're getting that number, I want to see the sheet. I want to see the fuel line. Because I just did a fuel line test. I did everything. Oh!
I think what you're doing is accurate, Rick. How tall are you? About 4'5"?
No, about 5'4".
That still kind of sucks, Rick. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I want to see their chart. They're telling you this. I want to see it. I know seeing is deceiving, but
I'm with
deceive me.
It's one thing to talk, right? It's another thing to prove it.
I want to see it.
So 117 is down. It's too low. For this bike, it's too low. Not even close. That Unifilter on the main air box is probably still restricting the airflow. And here's where I'm at now. And it's irritating for me, really. So if you sense irritation in my voice, it's genuine. I went out and looked for a fix for the air box on the 1190. Something that will provide dust filtration and still deliver power. What I came up with is a Rottweiler air box system. It's the only one I could find, actually. And I'll probably install that. I'm not super excited to install it, and here's why. I was at KTM Twins talking to those guys. They said, well, anything you change from stock airbox on the 1190 will reduce power. And that kind of contradicted what the write-up is on the Rottweiler intake system for the 1190. It seems to say, hey, you're going to get dust filtration and you'll get more power. There's some pre-filters. I'm going to roll in some video of what the Rottweiler intake for the 1190 looks like. And by the way, this is for KTM 1190 guys. I mean, TMPers love having you come along for the ride. But I post this as a service to the KTM riders around the world, in case they're interested in this information. The Rottweiler system is expensive, number one. You can see the prices there. There are foam pre-filters you put on top of it as well. They will further restrict airflow. There's a red filter, which I believe is medium density, and a black, which is higher density for more dust filtration. What bugs me about this is, so I go through all the hassle. Oh, by the way, putting a Power Commander 5 in, because once you go to that level, changing that whole intake system here, you're changing all the AFRs. You got to do it right. You have to have a way to adjust the fueling on the 1190. And that's what Rick does over here. You got to have to. Huh?
We can see their work. The dyno shows, it matches what they said.
Yeah.
Took the pre-filters out, so we was getting too much gas. You can see it right here where it was rich. The runs we just did are leaner, a lot better, and so that matches our numbers. Everything's like,
your numbers are accurate, Rick.
It's good, but if it should have a lot more.
I think, honestly, I think the guy's just talking out his ass.
Changing the
Hey,
filter.
we got 126 out of it. I asked them for the paperwork and they didn't produce it.
Here's one for the KTM guys.
Hang on, one quick thing too. Riding this bike over here, it does not feel like 126 rear wheel. The FJ, as the FJR that we dynoed here, I know what 126 wheel horsepower feels like, and this ain't it. So it jives with your numbers here.
Here's the thing too, to change the pre-filters and get this kind of power, what a bang for your dollar. If you have a bike.
True.
Air filters do make a difference.
And you know what that tells me about the 1198 motor is it has to breathe a lot. Anything you do to restrict its flow, you're going to lose power tremendously.
Yes, you are choking it. This is cool.
Getting back to the Rottweiler intake though, I mean, here I spend what? $800, actually $1,000 after it's all said and done to put a freaking air box in there that shouldn't have to be put on. Thank you, KTM. We dyno it again and we come up with the same numbers. What have I gained? That's my fear. What have I gained? I've gained nothing.
$4,000, is it worth it?
I've thrown $1,000 into the wind and got nothing. That pisses me off.
What did this 10 horsepower cost you? To get 10 horsepower, what'd that cost you?
Nothing, but you're still looking at 115 horsepower to the wheel from 150 horsepower motor. That's not right.
And that tells me right there that if that simple of a change can do that, imagine what you do if you open these bad boys up.
I totally agree. I think our best bet to get the max power out of this would put the Rottweiler on with no pre-filters. The problem I have is this, again, runs in the desert. I'm in a dusty environment. So I think with the 1190, you're going to have to accept power loss if you want filtration. That's the reality of it.
And longevity is about it.
Yeah, so
Otherwise,
protect your motor or get max power. That's your choices. Thanks to KTM's poor design on this airbox. I think KTM America should be totally fixing all the customers' bikes that have to go through this hassle. It shouldn't be this way.
That's why they turbocharge and supercharge everything, because they're disappointed. And all they're trying to do is get around the stock air box. Air filter system on all the bikes.
I understand that. Good point. But the fault with this airbox is that it doesn't suck in air where it's supposed to. It sucks it in through the sides and places where dust is allowed to ingress and get
Instead
into
of in the front.
your velocity stacks. I know, because I've pulled the tank off and I've looked. I ran it like twice out in the desert with the Unifilters on and it still had dust in it. Hey, if you want decent power, probably what we're looking at right here, you don't want to dick around with the airbox. It's a refined design. You might look into the BMW, 1200 GS. That's a great bike. It's proven. I don't like it as much as this because of the configuration, a lot of things I won't go into now. It's frustrating.
Free filters definitely made a difference.
They did.
Can't argue. But the numbers they came up with, I want to see the print.
They didn't come up with 126. I can pretty much guarantee that.
And here we're showing you air fuel ratio, so we know. Most people hide this. See these numbers? Most people hide that stuff. Let me do this and show you. When you see a dyno sheet,
just make
there's
it super
our air
quick.
fuel. When you see a dyno sheet, you see this right here. See that? That's what they show you. They don't want you to see this stuff.
Yeah.
See, guys, what we're talking about? This is where I tune it. I don't tune here.
Yep. Well, there we have it. What do you want to call it? 115, 116 horsepower?
116, 117.
Okay, we'll be generous, call it 117 horsepower. For the KTM 1190 Adventure with Unifilter in the main airbox, pre-filters taken off. And I guess we're committed, Rick. We got to go through with this project, right?
Yes, I think it will do a lot of people some good. And
I have a feeling I've thrown away $1,000 in the freaking garbage. I hope I'm wrong. Because I'm going to take this back. I'm going to yank everything off, take install the Rottweiler intake system on it, put the Power Commander 5 on it. We'll come back here and dyno tune it. Let's see what we pull. And I'm going to put the red pre-filter on it. It lives in the dust, dude. This is a street-only bike. Honestly, I wouldn't have it.
Yes.
I wouldn't have it. There's 100 other choices as a pure street bike that are better than this. Some guys like the styling, like run around on 1190 as a street bike. I'm not one of those guys. I'll run an FJR 1300 from Yamaha, a Ducati Multistrada, which doesn't have any airbox issues at all. And I know for a fact that Multistrada kicks some serious ass. It is a fast bike. It would destroy this one in its current configuration. I've driven them. They're great bikes, but they're not dirt bikes. All right, we're gonna sign off right here, Rick.
Okay, guys, ride safe.
Stay subbed. Watch for the future video of our results after we install the Power Commander, dyno tune it with the Rottweiler intake system on the KTM 1190. This is an unfancy project. Moto adventure continues. See ya.